Oh, hey, Jennifer Garner. Remember her? Man, she was everywhere for a while. How come we stopped seeing her in lead roles up until... Oh, yeah, that's why. So hey, remember 6 months ago when they remade Death Wish? No? Are you sure? I reviewed it right here on this show. Bruce Willis was in it. It was sort of controversial for a minute there. And then it turned out nobody really cares about the whole vengeful suburban dipshit with a gun thing anymore, and it was kind of a total bomb. Nothing? Really? Nobody? Okay, well, trust me, they did remake Death Wish, and yeah, nobody cared, but Hollywood takes literally forever to learn a lesson, so now here's Peppermint, betting that stale formula can still work with the simple swapping out of mad dad emasculation anxiety for blindside-style Annie get your NRA card soccer mom bellicosity, and generic urban warfare street crime paranoia for red cap racial panic that grounds the film in the Trumpian alternate reality where MS-13 inspired street gangs are this global threat somewhere on the scale of fucking Hydra. The shambling end result of which plays something like a Lifetime movie conceived by Steve Bannon, a by-the-numbers revenge saga that only manages to not be completely forgettable by virtue of the poisonously blunt dog whistle color coding that frames Garner's gravely wronged all-American girl as a literal avenging angel unleashing Second Amendment hellfire to liberate her city from an army of scary Latino gangster stereotypes sourced directly from the sketchy Facebook likes of that one uncle you keep hoping skips Thanksgiving this year. All of which might be, if not forgivable, at least, tolerable in an acknowledging the zeitgeist of the moment anthropological sense, if this was at least well made as trashy exploitation fare goes. Sadly, Peppermint comes courtesy of Pierre Morel, the director of Taken, and, well, quick, what was your favorite action scene from Taken again? Yeah, exactly. That guy's whole directing reputation is built on Liam Neeson threatening to do kick-ass stuff, not on anything actually that kick-ass taking place in those movies. So we're stuck with a dreary, unimaginative shoot-'em-up in which Garner's hapless, overworked housewife survives the gangland drive-by that kills her husband and daughter, goes off the grid when the ineffectual legal system fails to convict the perpetrators, and reappears 5 years later as a single-minded killing machine with sick MMA cage-fighting skills and Navy SEAL-level tactical weapons acumen. Call her atomic bland, I guess. Look, they're selling What If Punisher, but also Mom, and it's exactly that. There's zero originality to dwell on, and honestly, this is one of those movies where the facts sort of review themselves. So... every room the main villain chooses to occupy throughout the film is prominently decorated with an opulent votive candle surrounded Nuestra Senora de la Santa Muerte statue. You know, like how Cobra always had a bunch of huge snake idols ready to go no matter where they set up shop on the old G.I. Joe cartoon. The evil gangster's lawyer shows up to intimidate Garner in her home before she testifies is the same lawyer who defends them at trial, a fact she apparently does not see fit to bring up to anyone until after he's already gotten the charges thrown out. Our vigilante heroine operates out of a top-secret base in a homeless tent city in the middle of downtown, which the police discover because the local homeless, in gratitude for her protection, have painted a gigantic graffiti mural of this well-known wanted fugitive as an angel with a shotgun on a nearby wall. Bleeding profusely from a stabbing wound to the side and barely having survived a skirmish against the forces of evil with her life, Jennifer Garner takes a brief time out from her relentless justice-seeking revenge-killing spree to beat up another slightly wealthier white suburban mom who was condescending to her one time and make fun of her for now being divorced. Having surrounded an unarmed Jennifer Garner with a full army of his goons, no possibility of her escape, and no police in the immediate vicinity, the main villain, his victory utterly secure, challenges her to a one-on-one fistfight. The bad guys are literally running part of their international drug running and money laundering operation out of a piñata factory. A piñata factory. I wish I was joking about that, but I'm not. Now look, the only thing more predictable than Peppermint's entire screenplay is how pissed I know some of y'all will be that I brought this shit up, but the fact is, if the angle here wasn't to suck up some spare late summer box office dollars by stoking the politically charged paranoid fears of a certain slice of the audience, it's hard to see what other selling point this thing is supposed to have. The action is generic, the look is muddy and uninteresting, the direction is inert. Garner does not have the dramatic chops for the grieving mom stuff, and the cheesy Walker, Texas Ranger level B-movie action capability she sort of had back circa Alias and Elektra does not translate to the John Wick level stuff they're trying to stage here. So, like, if The Cell wasn't to cynically pitch to panicky suburbanites a right-wing power fantasy of fighting back against the sinister foreign other Fox News assures them is invading their once safe communities, then what exactly is The Cell here? Because Peppermint has nothing else going for it. The fact that it's so bizarrely over the top with the whole "rawr, scary Latin guys are coming to get you" is the only remotely interesting thing about this movie. And it's also pretty obvious that whatever this thing started out as, the studio knew they'd made a stinker and either reshot, hacked it to pieces, or both to get the incoherent 95-minute shit show we eventually see here. The film can't decide whether Garner is supposed to be a sympathetic psycho on a suicide mission or a superhero shoring up her origin film. She takes out the guys who actually killed her family and the seemingly corrupt judge first, then spends the rest of the film in a protracted battle of wits with the leader guy who sort of ordered it offhand and his army of nameless thugs in the Mara Salvatrucha style facial tattoos, not explicitly identified as such, but the visual reference is unmistakable. Also, the movie doesn't seem to know that those guys and the cartels aren't the same thing or interchangeable, but whatever. Also, we're offhandedly told that she off-screen killed the prosecutors and the ADAs without specifying that they were also corrupt, so that might actually just be straight up murder. Yet this obviously went through the grinder several times trying to get it into some kind of releasable shape, and it did not work. Make no mistake, there's no washing the ugliness out of Peppermint. That it's a brutish, nasty thing pandering to the basest perceived biases of an audience, trading in stereotypes and cheap gun porn fantasy is a problem down to its nasty core, but it's also a boring version of that on top of everything else. 1 star. You know, it'd be kind of funny if this one landed at exactly, 53% on the tomato meter or whatever, but I got a feeling that's going to be a little high.